I know like papaya means purple. I mean, it means like the purple, or like I don't know what you guys call it, but like it's a fruit, right? So why papaya? Why the name?
Why papaya? Oh, that's a good question. Dude, I don't know. That's the reality. I first started. So Gabriel has been working with me. I have an
Yeah.
independent record label. I've been in the music industry. I'm from Brazil originally, right? I moved to California. I was working as like a film composer, making music for films and video games. And then I opened the record label back in 2019, I think. Dude, like I don't know, we were like kind of just like really talking about like, hey, how could we do something different here, right? Like this industry is really bad. This industry is really fucked up. It's really inefficient. We want to do something different. So we really started brainstorming alongside of another friend of ours. At that time, I was working with like cryptocurrencies. So I first started doing like what it would become papaya, but it was something about like having the intellectual property of the music, and you can make like little coins with that, right? Kind of transforming your own IP, intellectual property, into like a currency. And that's when Gabriel and I were like talking a lot about it. I remember I had to talk to an investor and I didn't have a name. Like I was going to talk the next day. And they was like, okay, let's talk tomorrow. I was like, shit, I need to make a presentation for these people. I need to ask them for money. And I don't have a fucking name. So I went on a run in Berkeley. I was going to go on a run. And I saw this beautiful graffiti. It was like this woman, she was drinking out of a fountain, like a waterfall. She was just like drinking, and like the waterfall was like pouring a lot of water, right? And I was like, dude, this is what artists are. Like we are abundance, right? Like we are abundance of energy, we're abundance of life, we are creative people. The world revolves around fucking music, right? I don't know how it was in Nigeria, but like during COVID, like during the pandemic, like everything stopped. But every place had music playing, right? Music was still there, right?
Yeah.
So that kind of just trips me out, like how much people use music for everything. And we are just not valued, right, as artists. So I remember it was like, well, the name of this company has to be something about abundance, right? About us having a lot to share, a lot to give, and what is more abundant than nature, right? And I was like, well, I'm from Brazil, like maybe something tropical. Sometimes Californians, Americans really like Latino vibe. So yeah, let's bring some of that tropical vibe. And then I thought about this fruit, right? The papaya, the fruit. It's very easy to pronounce in every language. It's very abundant, has a lot of seeds, right? And so like that's kind of why I thought about it. And again, at that time, we were going to do something with cryptocurrency. So it made even more sense because we're going to do like the seeds as money. But we kind of kept the name, and that's why papaya. Yeah.
Yo, yo, yo! Welcome to Papaya Rhythms and Hustles, where we're gonna be talking a lot about the independent music scene, how to navigate this crazy, crazy industry. I'm your host, Gian Berselli. Welcome. Make yourself at home. This podcast is for you. All right, pause for a second. Jim from the future here. So just full disclaimer, this was not originally thought as a podcast episode. Kiddhillz has been with us since the very beginning of Papaya when we launched the first beta. He found us. He's joined the platform. He's been really communicative on Instagram. We've been following his journey as well. He's been a very early on supporter. So this was the time that we're still doing some customer interviews, trying to get to know our customer base, how we could help them, and just explore a little bit more and connect with communities. So yeah, full disclaimer, this was not thought really to be a podcast interview, but again, we love this guy. He's super nice. We really believe in everything he's doing. So we just decided to turn this customer interview into a podcast episode. So I hope you guys like it. And thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed the podcast. Bye-bye. Ciao.
Please tell me like your story, and tell me what do you do nowadays? Like how do you survive? How do you make money? I would love to hear some of that too.
All right. So aside from the music, I work in the tech scene, right? And I graduated from the university studying statistics. So I work as a data analyst aside from the music life. I have a whole life outside music. So that's what sustains me financially to make music, right? And I also work with music companies over here as sound engineer, sound designer. Sometimes I work as producer, sometimes as songwriter, as you understand. But mainly me being a data analyst is my full-time job that brings money from me. I mean, the other side gigs in the music industry kind of like brings in money once in a while, but it's not always certain. I mean, I cannot predict next week I'm going to make money, right? That's why the data analyst work is still like my primary focus, right? I wasn't having the dream to be a music artist growing up. I wanted to be a physicist. I loved physics growing up. I wanted to defy the law of gravity. I wanted to build an Iron Man suit. That was my goal growing up. So yeah, right from like high school, I was studying quantum physics and all that. And I always loved sound. I mean, like I would always think of sound, and I I would tell my friends about cymatics, how can you can use the energy of sound to move objects and all that. And they were always puzzled. But I never really had any interest in music. I mean, music was in my family. Yeah, it was in the family, but I wanted to become something different. So when I got to college, that was when the whole passion for music started. And that was like around 20. Like I was leaving high school then, and I was only making music because then I had friends in my class that would always beatbox. And I would always just tell them that you can do this and do this. And trust me, everything was just my intuition. I never even knew like anything about music theory, right? I didn't study music theory up until 2021. While I was in high school, I was just taking it more like a hobby. Like, okay, yeah, I would just tell you how to sing your song properly, or people would make beat patterns, and I would tell them, no, based on what I've heard from songs, I don't think this is how it goes, right? So it was just this kind of intuitional kind of thing happening to me. But when I left high school, got into college, I actually wanted to study mechatronics, but I didn't meet up the cutoff marks, so I had to reapply and study statistics because I didn't want to stay back home. If I had like stayed home, I would have dropped out from school. First year in school, I was studying, and I had friends that were just musically inclined around me, and I saw that people were always looking for how to get beats, and I would always be like, go on YouTube, and they were like, no, I want specific type of beats. And then I was like, okay, my dad was a sound engineer back in the 90s. So I was always telling my friends about Iron Man suit, the whole theories and all that. And they were always like, but your dad was a sound engineer, right? And I always thought I never liked sound. But when I saw that, okay, now there was a need, like bunch of like my friends were all in music and I was the only one like in science doing all that. I think I went to buy FL Studio one day. I saved up my money and I said, okay, let me buy FL Studio. I was waiting for my dad to teach me then. And that all that happened in 2015. But my dad was out of the country then. So I just taught myself FL Studio. And it took me months. I made a lot of crappy beats, right? But I was very happy because I would always have thoughts in my head of how music should sound like. And people would say, no, this is not how it's supposed to sound. And in my head, I'm like, I know it can actually sound right, but I just need a platform to bring it out. So when I installed FL Studio, started playing around with it, that was the push I needed to bring out the music in me, right? I eventually became an engineer, just I didn't become a mechanical engineer. I became a sound engineer eventually in life. Fast forward to 2015, I was just making beats, trap beats, hip hop beats. I wasn't even doing Afrobeats, right? To be very honest, I know it sounds kind of like weird, but I didn't really like give two shits about Afrobeat. I was like, okay, it's Nigerian music, but it's very basic, right? So I always make hip hop beats, trap beats, alternative beats. So I was just a beat maker from 2015 to 2017. So around 2018, I started having friends that would say, oh, can you record vocals as well? And I was like, I could try, right? So I would always just bring them over. And by then I was literally using my school money to buy my softwares, my gadgets and all that. My parents didn't even know about all this. I was just doing that, right? I was just getting my stuff gradually. I was getting to know about, okay, this is the audio interface. This is about this is about that. I mean, I'd seen everything growing up because I used to follow my dad to the studio, right? So it wasn't like everything was kind of strange. I knew almost everything, but I never had interest in it. So 2017, I started mixing vocals, right? I would call my friends in, I would do it for them for free. I would just record them, would spend the whole day, would skip classes and record and do all that, right? And that was how I started I never really saw myself singing. I mean, I would always just see myself like, okay, I'm just a beat maker now, I'm just a producer. I never really loved hearing my voice, right? I would always prefer to hear other people's voices. Um, it was not up until COVID. I mean, COVID, I told myself, I had to sit down and ask myself, would I want to be a producer in the next 5 years? I mean, there's Metro Boomin, there's a lot of producers out there. Can I beat them? And I was like, no, I cannot. I need to do something that would make me stand out. And from the get-go, I loved rock music. I mean, I grew up in a mixed nationality environment where there was like Chinese, Japanese, Russians, Germans. So I met with a lot of nationalities growing up. I had a lot of friends from different countries, and they would always introduce me to Nirvana, to Blink 182, Linkin Park, and that was like my life growing up. Then I loved rock music because I was introduced to those sound early on. And my dad always worked with a lot of guitarists then. So they would always play a lot of like Jimi Hendrix sound and all that. So I just loved rock music. And this was what made me to see Afrobeat like, okay, yeah, it's there, but I always just loved rock music. So COVID came and I was like, what can I do as a creator that would make me different? I mean, I wanted to be different in Nigeria. I wanted to be different everywhere in the world. I want to be like the person whereby if I perform my song in the midst of 1 million people, you remember my song because it's just different, right? So I was like, I sat down during COVID and I was like, okay, let me mix passion and roots. So it was like me being an African and me bringing out my passion for rock music, my love for rock music. So that was the birthplace for Afro Rock for me, right? I mean, the transition was so dynamic that people that knew me then making hip hop beats and trap beat started asking me, how did you start singing rock and putting Afrobeat together? Because it was so fast, right? They never saw it coming. I myself didn't see it coming. It was just a thing of, I wanted to be different. I told myself after COVID, I gave myself 1 year. After COVID, if I couldn't think of anything different, I would just stick to being a sound engineer, right? So I was experimenting, making different fusions of beat. I mean, the beat process wasn't easy at all. Fusing the tempo of 190 with Afro 105, it's two different tempos. So I had to experiment all through COVID. I started experimenting more. I was making a couple of beats, but I was never confident to tell people I would make rock music. I mean, rock music in Nigeria is like, it seemed like a godlike music. If you say you make rock music, first they see you like you are a non-conformist, like, wow, you make rock music. So,
Like rebellious, you mean? Is like a rebellious music?
Yeah, they see it like kind of rebellious because, I mean, in totality, they say rock music is noise in Nigeria. Like they say, oh, you like that genre that has a lot of noise. So, they don't really see it like music. They see it like, oh, it's just noise, heavy guitars. Because Afrobeat is more of a calm, soothing music that has melodies. While rock music, it depends on the subgenres like metal, deathcore. It's heavy distortion, and all that. So initially, I never really wanted to come out telling people I made rock music. I was always like, I'm just an alternative creator, right? And they'll be like, okay, so what's your style? And I'm like, alternative. And that was how I started uh, giving myself the term alternative. Not up until 2021, I met a guy named Check. That's also like I don't know, music industry name. He's more of a music manager. So he stumbled upon my Instagram and he saw what I was doing. And he was in a whole different state. He was in Lagos, I was in Ibadan. And I think he was the partner that made me become super confident of everything I was doing. So he called me over to Lagos. He flew me all the way from Ibadan to the city. He was like, wow, like, because he loved rock music too. So he told me that he has been looking for a rock music artist in Nigeria. And I was like, yeah, I am, right? We started working from 2021. He funded most of all my stuffs, like on the business level, marketing level. He worked on most of my merch. Even what I'm wearing, I have a band now. We worked on the band, the Clan band. I have a band now. So, from 2021, I think that was where I started coming out confidently saying, okay, I make rock music and I infuse it with African sound. And people would always be intrigued, like, what is Afro rock? Like people would always ask, what is Afro rock? And I would have to explain, play my songs and all that, right? I did my first listening party in October 2021. It was a blast. I think it was probably the environment I was in that made me thought that people didn't like rock music. But when I came over to Lagos, I figured out like there was a very large population of people that actually fucked with rock music. So when I did my show, a lot of people turned out. I had about close to 150 attendance. It was massive. I dropped my first song, Savior, right? And Savior was a song I never really thought would blow up, like in my own point of view. I thought it was just going to be a song that's going to be on the EP because I dropped it in the EP and I was really not hoping for it to blow up as like the highlighted song. But everyone loved the song because I told myself that this was what I was going to do.
Yeah.
I would drop an EP that has different sounds of what I like, hip hop, trap, Afro, and rock. Any ones that blow up, I will keep up with that skill. I'll keep up at it. So funny enough, people love the rock sound. And I was like, okay, then I'm going to keep on doing rock. And this was how I started going with a, Afro rock perspective moving on forward, right? So
and Savior, it's still your biggest song, right? From what I remember, I remember listening to it.
Yeah, it's still my biggest song. It has gotten radio plays in so many countries. It has gotten me a lot of like nominations in Nigeria as well. I've been able to use Savior to perform at the Spanish embassy, the German embassy in Nigeria, the Zimbabwe embassy.
Wow.
Right? So
that's amazing, man. That's super cool. I love it. And I mean, I'm a little bit of bias because I love rock too, but I feel like you and we have very similar influences because, like, I don't know, from listening to your music, it's like, oh yeah, we grew up listening to the same stuff for sure. You know, do you mind if I show you something? Because you're saying Afro Rock. Believe it or not, this is back in 2016. And this is how funny life is, right? I actually got hired because I was doing a lot of film scores at that time.
Okay.
And I got hired to do a soundtrack for a film in Ghana. I think it was a British director. She was British. Mm-hmm. But the film was in Ghana. Anyway, I did the score and stuff like that. But there was a part of the score, I was like, wow, what if I mix like, it wasn't really Afrobeats, but I did some rock with like some African like percussion sounds.
I would love to hear that, honestly.
Let me see.
I would so much love to hear it.
Let's play it. You're talking about like Afro Rock. Literally, the name of the track is Afro Rock Awesomeness. Oh, that's so funny, man. That is awesome, dude. And
this is you got the sound on the instrumentation level. I mean, yeah.
Nice, man. Cool. I mean, coming from you means a lot, man. I remember when I was doing it, I was like, I'm just gonna put stuff here, mix it up. That's awesome, dude. And you know, I work in China for a long time, and you know, spending time in China and talking about, you know, like hearing people's life in music, especially one of my co-founders there, you know, and I was like, dude, the guy lives all the way in China, and I feel like our stories are so similar. And then listening to your story, and like our stories are so similar too. Like the stuff that you went through, the stuff that you listened to, your references, it makes me feel like I already know you. Like this is how powerful music is, right? Like we live in like completely different parts of the world. We have completely different cultures, different color of our skin, right? Like there's so much difference between us, but at the same time, like I feel so connected because of music, because our passion through music, right? And I really feel like Papaya, you know, should be this bridge between these worlds.
Honestly, at first, I think when I saw Papaya, I thought you guys were like a music licensing company at first. right? But I was like, okay, let me just stick with you guys because I'm very heavy on being long term with people. I'm also into like tech, into Web3 blockchain for music, working with tech guys. So I know like there's been a emergence of so many companies now, right? So I honestly just thought Papaya was a licensing company, and it was just like a company outside America, working with North America, South Americans, all that. But now having a more deeper context about the platform, I think it makes a lot of sense now.
Cool, man. Yeah, I mean, we can go on and on about it, and I'll be happy to talk to you about like your thoughts and but as of now, what we're trying to build, we call it like the LinkedIn for music, right? So we really want to create a space where people can connect professionally in the music industry. And as I was saying, like we're trying to build this professional place where people can connect and find each other, right? I feel like, again, I don't know how it is in Nigeria, and I would love to hear from you.
I think Papaya it's going to be a really great platform for Nigerians because I was born and raised in Nigeria. My parents are Liberians, but I was born Nigerian, all right. So I kind of understand the music scene to a very good level. I've been working as a sound engineer from 2015 up to 2020. I became an artist. So there isn't a lot of discovery platforms. There isn't a lot of like platforms that showcase, bring people into the limelight and all that. It's mainly the traditional way. You have to either pitch your song to somebody and somebody pitch it to somebody, this type of process. Even though the whole Afrobeat scene is growing, but still the independent society here is still very, very naive to a lot of things. So this is why I saw Papaya as a very great platform. I mean, if it taps into Nigeria, it's going to be a very big breakthrough because Nigeria doesn't have any competitor as sort of regarding to Papaya, right? We don't even have streaming platforms that many Nigerians use. Most Nigerians are still adapting to Spotify. They're still adapting to Apple Music. I mean, I use Spotify and Apple Music, but based on the limitation of so many things like transaction, people having to use international cards and all that. So people haven't really evolved into the whole streaming system or internet networking kind of thing. So it's more like a fresh grassland over here for so many things. But things are quite very complicated. I mean, because people are not open to the whole resources of having to do so many things themselves. They have to reach out to people and wait days, weeks, months for response. Unlike the few of us that are like out of the matrix and like trying to do our own things out of the box, right?
Yeah. So out of the matrix, I love that. Which is rare, right? It's rare. It's really hard. Yeah. I would love to explore that, man. Like I love anything that comes musically from Africa. I think you guys are the birth of culture in so many ways, right? And for me, it honestly is an honor. Really, really is an honor to have like people supporting us. I love Nigeria. I always wanted to go. Maybe one day I'll visit. But yeah, I think what we're trying to do right now is really to help people independent. To connect, to understand, right? Like, for example, how can people find you as an engineer? Like, how can you help you as an engineer find new clients? How can new clients find promotion? What are the best promotion services? We don't know. There's so much noise. There's so much going on out there that we need to kind of start to identify, filter a little bit, and connect people, right? I want to start taking the opportunities of the big guys and start to like put in the hands of smaller people, right? This is kind of the dream with Papaya. Is we usually say is to democratize opportunities, right? That's why I stepped away from the blockchain theory, because even though the blockchain theory was good, and maybe we can do that one day, I realized that more than money, artists needs opportunities. Like if you have money and you don't know how to even spend your money, because there's a lot of people doing scams. There are professionals that are not good. Who are the best mixing engineers? Who is a producer who could actually have a good connection with you, right? Like you're a producer yourself. You need to really, really be a good fit musically, the genre, location. There's so many things that have to go right So that's why I kind of shifted the thesis of Papaya for something a little bit more tailored towards opportunity first, right? So as I said, we're doing the LinkedIn, for music, LinkedIn for creators, and we're trying our best. As of now, we're all broke artists, just dreaming. Okay, so that's the reality now, and we're trying to change that, bro.
Yeah.
We're trying to change that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, honestly, I think it's good I have a very in-depth context about the platform now, and you have my support regardless of wheresoever you guys are. I mean, I've been in so many multiple phases of working with platforms, still scaling, and up to now, I've been working with some platform for 3 years, and I haven't been paid anything. So it's just the support. So you have my support, honestly. Anytime you guys are ready to boom, I'm also with you guys on the rocket.
Thank you, bro. Let me ask you just a few questions before we go into the stories. If you have a little magic wand right now for your life in music, and you wanted to create something, what would you create? What is the biggest need you have as a musician? If you had beep, you could just change with magic. What would that be?
I think for me, the biggest need at this point, if it's a personal thing, right, I'll come from a personal point of view. I think it's platforms to come out, right? Platforms, basically. I think if I have a one, I'll be able to build institutions that wouldn't gatekeep or wouldn't hoard so many creativities from coming out, or creatives, right? I mean, it'd be limitless. I know that may also bring in another side effect, but I mean, for the meantime, I think that would really help, because for me, I feel like there is a lot of people that have money is not the totality. I think that's money might seem to be the final joy for the creativity, but I think it's about being loved and showing love. That's the totality of being creative. You create something because you want it to be appreciated and you love it. That's why you created it. And the appreciation of what you created is what you are looking for. I mean, people can pay you, and if they're paying you and not loving it, you might still not be satisfied. So I feel like having platforms to showcase your craft would really help. I mean, streaming platforms has done well in recent times, but it's not just enough. I mean, the structure is still really gated, and it's kind of gatekeeping so many creativities, right? So for me, I think it's just having a platform that makes it goes like a flowing river instead of it just being like a pond.
I love that. That's a beautiful way to describe it. Yeah, I understand. And as I said, hopefully this is kind of what we're trying to do, right? There's a lot of power, accumulated power in the music industry. And I believe through the power of technology, we can start to dilute that power a little bit, right? And how we're going to do it, I mean, we're going to probably know, we're going to just say, hey, yeah, everyone wants this, but have you thought about this, and this, right? There's a lot of other good players there. If you want to, everyone wants to sign up with, Universal Music. Sure, good, right? But hey, have you thought about this? They're doing a good job too. You're not going to make as much money, but check them out. Give them a chance, right? And this is really what we're trying to do with Papaya. As I said, is democratizing opportunities, right, for both sides. So I really appreciate what you're saying.
Amazing, honestly.
I would love to hear, I think we have a few questions. Why don't you tell me, at least to start, if you have one or two crazy stories with music, right? For example, one person told us one day that they want to play a show, and then the person never paid the budget for the show, and the person didn't have money to come back. Literally didn't have enough money to come back. So the person slept on the floor in the venue and the bar until the next day that it could catch a bus. So anything, it could be positive, it could be negative. Anything you can share with us.
I have a lot of story, honestly. Where can I start from? Okay, the most extreme is I have gone days hungry, all in the process of making music. Okay, so I traveled to a whole different city, Ekiti. Ekiti is a different city in the southern part of Nigeria. So I was traveling with the expectation of going there and hopefully working with the artist, and they would pay me. right? So unfortunately, I went over to the city, and the same day I went, that was when the artist's mom died. So I mean, I was like, okay, now we cannot make music. So I stayed over at his place, right? He was pretty broke because he had to now spend his money to go to his mom's place. So he told me, "Can you just stay in my place? I'm going to visit my, going over to my mom's side, for the burial and all that." So I was like, okay. I stayed over at his place. I didn't eat. I didn't have any money. I was empty. I was broke. I literally cried that day. I told myself I'm going to stop making music. I told myself I was going to stop making music, but here I am again, still making music. I didn't eat all through the day. When I called him, he told me, "Oh, he's very sorry. He himself was very broke and all that." So I had to literally call like back home, and they were literally pissed off with me. Like, why would you leave? Why would you do this? Why would you do that? Because I didn't tell them I was leaving to that other state. But that was like one of the most extreme phases I'd gone through whereby I didn't eat, and I was doing it for the love of music because I mean the guy I was working with, I wanted to work with was pretty much broke. So I told him, okay, whatever you have, I'll just come and you pay me whatever you have. At least I'll use that to bring myself back, right? At least if you can pay my transport fare back to come back to my city, that's cool. So that was my expectation, right? The thought, the idea was for me to stay one day or less than one day, come back, right? Well, I eventually spent about 1.5 day over there, going to almost 2 days, right? And I was so sober. I told myself, no, I'm not going to do this music P again ever in my life. I'm going to stop when I go back. And right when I come back home, I have another job that pays me times three of what I was supposed to expect. And I tell myself, okay, now I'm doing music again. Right, right. And this all happened like 1 year or 2 years ago, right? And there was this other one phase whereby I am my management. This even happened so recently, about like last year, December. And we went for a show. And while we were coming back, right, we had a car that was very faulty and the car broke down, right? Man, we literally spent hours on the road all through the night. We were fixing the car and we were so pissed off at ourselves. Like, why did we go for the show? Because I mean, they didn't pay us. Eventually, we went just to support and showcase what I was doing. So we were coming back and the car got broken and we had to be on the road almost all through the night. I was so pissed off. My manager was so pissed off. We told ourselves we're not going for any shows whereby they don't pay us anymore. Yet again, we still go for shows unpaid. Right. So there's a lot of good stories too. There was this one time too, like, I mean, when I got the Spanish gig to perform at the Spanish embassy, I remember that night, a friend of mine sent me the link, and I was very, very reluctant because honestly, I was like, do they even like my sound? So he told me, just pitch your song and let's see. So I was up all the night filling in the form. It was a very long list of information they asked for, and I had my band then. So that night I called all my band members around like 1, 2 a.m. I was calling them and asking them for so many personal information, and they were like, "Why are you asking me all this?" And I was like, well, "I'm trying to pitch for us to perform at the Spanish embassy." But honestly, I undermined myself. I was like, "There's going to be 5,000 bands, and there's going to be so many people in Nigeria. How are they going to pick me? Why are they going to pick my band? I mean, you're alternative. You're not doing Afrobeat per se." So I pitched the application, and 2 weeks later, I get a call from a lady saying she's from the Spanish embassy, and they filtered around 8,000 bands in Nigeria, and they picked only about 12, and we're among the 12. And I was like, what? I was like, what? Really? I was so excited because honestly, I wasn't expecting my band to be picked. Honestly, I felt like there are so many professional bands out there. And my band was like, I don't know, we're still very alternative and we're still very little. We didn't even have any traction and all that. And I thought, okay, probably this is a scam. Let me just chill and probably she might not call again. In the next, like, I think the next 8 hours or 10 hours, she texted me on WhatsApp and she was like, hey, I would need your rider information. I will need this, I will need that. And I was like, okay, now this is getting real. This is getting really real. And lo and behold, they invited us. We came to perform. It was a great performance. They gave us a plaque, yeah, for performing and all that. It was
Nice. Do you
really
have
very.
do you have that plaque there or no? Send us a picture
It's
later
not.
if you have.
Yeah, definitely. I will send you the picture. It's not with me at the moment now,
That's super cool,
right?
man. Wow, that's really awesome. And again, like this is why I love about doing this. We hear stories over and over, and they are all kind of like we're all going through the same shit all over the world, right?
Exactly,
That
man.
is so. I mean, and you also mentioned something really important for us to Papaya. You're like, I thought it was a scam. Like, how much of that there is out there? Like, I mean, this is literally what we're doing with the music promotion nowadays. Is like, how can we
Yeah,
help people know if things are scams or not? Because there's so many scams out there, man. This is crazy.
definitely.
And tell me why. So I have two more questions for you.
Yep.
Number one, let's start with number one. Why do you keep doing even after all this time? Because you have so many like ups and downs, ups and downs. Like, what about music pushes you to keep doing, right? Like, what is this love for music that makes you still do it?
For me, I feel music is just a medium for me to um voice out so many things. I mean, people find different mediums to voice out things through their work. I don't know, communication, being a public speaker, using internet, social media, or something. For me, music, I see it more like just a medium for me to voice out what I have within me. I feel like if I use something else, it might be heard, but not how I want it to be or how I want to translate it. So this is what keeps me going. For me, I would say I didn't start off music primarily to make money. Honestly, I started it off because I had thoughts in my head. I had so many things in my head I feel I could push out, but I didn't just know how well to push it. And I felt like music was just the medium, right? So it's what keeps driving me even in the next 5 years. I know that in the next 5 years, there's always going to be a cause for people to speak out for something. And music is just going to be my own best medium to speak out. I mean, it's through music I'm connecting with you. God knows that I might not have connected with you through any medium. The chances of me meeting with you on a tech level might have been very, very slim, zero to none, right? But through music, I could meet you, and this is the drive for me with music, being able to connect with you, not knowing what's going on with you over there, but we can all resonate on the same frequency because of the sound or what similar interests we have, right? I feel it's just blissful because people only get to connect through, or people get to only voice out their opinions, their lifestyle, the way they want to do things, maybe through their colleagues in their workplace or through their family, through their friends. They're limited to only the friend list they have on Facebook and all that. But with music, for me, you can connect with somebody in Russia, and he might be a very shitty person. You might be a very shitty person in your own way, but you guys will just connect because of music.
Yeah. It's like a common
So
language that both of you speak, right? I love
yeah,
that. I mean, I literally did my master thesis on exactly what you're talking about, but I'll leave that for another time. But I was studying, amongst other things, an ensemble in the Netherlands that they call the Atlas Ensemble, and it's literally putting people from all over the world that don't speak the same language play completely different styles of music and just kind of putting them together, right? And of course, I'm also understanding like power struggles and Western music versus what the Western call world music, right? Everything that's not Western is world, right? But anyway, I really love what you're saying, man, and I really appreciate it. That's why
thank you, brother.
I really from the beginning, like when I saw some of the stuff you did and just like what you stand for, I could tell like, wow, this guy really is what Papaya is about, because you understand that music is about
Yeah,
connection at the end of the day, right? Music is about expression,
definitely.
connection. It's beyond words, right? It goes beyond.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
this is beautiful. And I want to finish with one question that I've been dying to ask since you said this. And we can geek at another time because I have a lot of stuff to geek with you
Yeah.
about this. Because you're saying that you really love quantum physics and cymatics. I myself
Yeah.
as well. I actually also applied for physics in university, but ended up going to media school. But I also love this. I love music and like sound, the physics of sound, the idea of how music heals and connects and metaphysics of music. I love all of that. But as I said, I would love to geek you at some point. But since you're saying that you wanted to build the Superman iron suit, and now you're doing music, what do you think that music or sound has that can save people? I would love to hear that, because I think music is a superpower at the end of the day, right? It's kind of like an Iron Man suit in a way, if you think about it. But like, I would love to hear your thoughts. Like, what, like having all of the cymatics and the physics of sound and having this desire to build something. Honestly, like it's romantic, but I understand the desire behind building an Iron Man suit. Like, what does music has for you that it can save people?
I feel music can help us not have World War III, right? Why? Because I say that is because it's cross-cultural, right? Music is still one of the substance on earth that's cross-cultural. I mean, I cannot change the Western food. I mean, a Western man may come to Nigeria and might still be obliged to eat his Western food. A Chinese man, an Asian man, someone from Australia, right? You cannot change their clothing. You cannot change their culture. You cannot change how their language is. But they can listen to your sound and they can hear a bongo or a bongo or a conga and be like, I think we love you use this also here. It infuses in the culture. It's like weaving out, right? Music is very versatile. With music, I feel like two enemies can become friends. And I've seen it worked out, honestly, because there's an astral feeling that music connects to people, that music carries. I cannot really explain it in a very simpler term, but I feel like music has a mental power that can reshape the way people think, right? I mean, it's because of the music coming out these days now. This is why people behave how they behave now, very outspoken, very vibrant, as compared to like back in the days when music, the tempos of music differs and also affects the culture too as well. Now music is more fast-paced, music is more hyper. So this is why you see there's a lot of proactiveness happening now. People are very, very reactive to so many things. So basically, I see music as a weapon, right? I see it as a tool. It can be used in a good way. It can be used in a bad way. You can use music to propagate enmity between two countries, and you don't have to go to those two countries, right? Afro Rock is a simple explanation of what I'm trying to say. I mean, a Western guy listening to Afro Rock would think of Afro Rock like alternative rock, right? In Nigeria, you listening to Afro Rock, you'll see it as something Nigeria will call Alte. Alte is like alternative music too, right? And because of that, you might want to like rock music because of the fact that it has some elements of Africanism in it. And as someone like rock music, you might want to know about African sound too, because you heard an alternative rock music that has some level of Africanism in it. So those two elements in just one sound can make two people become curious about themselves. And I mean, if I make the subject to become something negative, it can make two people want to hate themselves at the same time, right? So this is the superpower I see that music has, and people use it well also, but people don't understand that music is beyond just singing. It's an emotion. It's a feeling. The chords you play, the tone you play, everything connects to people. This is why, I mean, let me use a very good example. In gospel music, in Christian music, people cry and you hear the songs. And same with sad music, people cry and they don't know the artist because there is an emotion that came out from the artist in his own or in their own way that you have connected to in your own way also too. So this is why I see music as, I mean, it's still a very good weapon that people should know that it is and know how to make use of, right? And for me, basically, I'm very happy you asked that question because, this is why I also got in depth into music, because I wanted to see music to the first principle of how does it affect the mind? How do people listen to songs and get happy? There are some songs I listen to, and when I listen to those songs, I listen to it because I want to be very creative. right? I listen to those songs because I want to think out of the box. So, like it or not, it's a weapon. It's how it's taking effect on your brain. I mean, because of the fact that you listen to it, you might have a lot of dopamine coming out and all that. So, for me, music is cross-cultural. It's one of the elements that can pass through your culture and stay in your culture, and yours can also come into my culture, and we both can be interwoven. This is one of the elements that I see as a natural thing that can come true. I mean, your food and my food, I cannot use the same recipe I use to cook Nigerian food to cook your type of food. It wouldn't work. But I can take an element from pop music, put it into African music. I can take an element from African music, put it into jazz. It would still sit in one way or the other. It's like a spice. So this is what I see it as.
A right? Superpower. It's your Iron Man suit that you're building, man.
Exactly. I mean, I'm very, very impenetrable with that. Like, I mean, all around me making Afro Rock, for me doing this now, making this type of music, I see myself like the Iron Man, truly, because in the movie, Iron Man he can pass through anything. He's unstoppable. And this is how I see myself at this phase. Like, I'm literally always proud at any point in my life, at this point, to tell people, yeah, this is what I do. And I always love to look at the shock of people's face, like, oh, wow, really? For me, it's just what the Iron Man suit does. It's, it guides, it assists, and does so many things. I mean, there's so many places I've gone to, and because of the fact I mentioned the style of music I do, I mean, I had a lot of privilege, all because of just me mentioning that. Now I'm like, okay, great.
It is beautiful, man. And after being, I mean, I love what I'm doing, but sometimes I do get caught up so much into like business and this and this, and it's really good to hear, this is the type of stuff. Sometimes I even ask this for me more than anything, just to kind of keep bring me back that passion. I really love it, man.
Yeah.
Caleb, I really appreciate it. Dude, you've been amazing from day one since we met. I want to keep in touch with you. I appreciate your patience, kind of sticking around with us. Now, you know me, you know Gabriel, people here. I'm proud to say that we're doing everything we can. Our intentions. We are here to kind of change the industry through music, right? And doing something right. We're not here for the money. We're not here for the greatness. All of that is consequence, right? If it happens, cool. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't matter that much. It's about creating something meaningful, right? And I think we're on the path for that. So I really appreciate you, man.
Okay, so I'm sorry. I just want to ask a personal question regarding to Papaya. What is you guys' biggest challenge now? Right. What's you guys' biggest challenge, and what do you think can be of a boost to solving those challenges?
Yeah. That's a good question. I mean, of course, we always want to answer, we need money, but not really. I think if we are able to, I think there's two things. I really want to grow the user base. But I also want to grow the user base by being as genuine and being transparent with the message as possible. I don't want to just put any people in there. We could do that. We could pay for whatever. We can get whatever person in there, but I want to grow the user base with people like you or like us that are really passionate about. Because if we do that, honestly, I don't care about anything else. Then we connect the people that need to be connected. And then, of course, if we want to grow, money will come. Then we have money to put into the platform and we'll grow the business. But that's the number one thing. It's just how can we grow this? By communicating, being honest, and gathering the right people, right? This is kind of what we're trying to solve. We just want to keep growing our user base by providing value, right? So we want to provide value.
Really I think that's really great.
Caleb, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate. We're here to help you.
Yeah.
Let's do it, man. We got it. We got this.
All right.
Hey. Hey. What's up, everyone? Thank you so much for listening to this episode. Kiddhillz is a beast. I love this guy. Thank you so much for the interview. I hope you guys enjoy. Don't forget to check out Papaya at www.heypapaya.com. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Thank you, Mateus, the director of the podcast, and everyone at Papaya team. Looking forward to the next one. We're finishing recording the season. I love you all, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Okay, ciao, bye-bye.